This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Frank Smith over Zoom. Frank, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm good. Glad to have got back up and running. 4 weeks done now. Fight camp over with, and a real success. Obviously, not the result we wanted last night, but a real success. And Dillian Whyte will be back.
Let's obviously start from the top of the card last night and work our way down with that headline fight. It was a very competitive fight, obviously, up until the point of stoppage. Dillian dropping Alexander twice in the fourth, and then that knockout from Povetkin was sublime. It was a stunning finish. What did you make of the fight in general, though?
Crazy. I mean, after as you say, in the fourth round, I thought it was all going to be over when he came back out. But Povetkin showed his quality, and that the punch he caught Dillian with came out of nowhere. So a real shock, and that just shows that's heavyweight boxing, isn't it? You never know what's around the corner. It's a crazy fight.
How did you kind of yourself and Eddie and what have you kind of react to that punch? I know you guys might have more of a neutral face or more of a poker face, but everyone who I've seen since and reaction videos are everyone was just stunned by it.
Yeah, completely shocked because, as I say, it came out of nowhere. You didn't see it coming, and Dillian, obviously it was a big punch, and he's gone down. You could see straight away that the fight was over. Obviously, as well, with the atmosphere the way it was, just complete silence, and just the 3 or 4 Russian team that were there, just screaming. Obviously, it was like something you've never seen in a back garden.
What did you make of a fight from the beginning? How did you feel Dillian was boxing up until he dropped Povetkin twice and obviously the stoppage later on?
Yeah, no, I thought he was controlling the fight, especially from second, third, fourth round. Was doing what he needed to do. I think he even said he could have come out and started even earlier in the first round. The first round was a bit cagey between the two of them. But yeah, Dillian obviously was. If you asked me in the fourth round, I would have said it was all over. But not that way round.
Eddie, Eddie's mentioned, and we've seen the interviews that there is that rematch clause there. When could we expect to see it?
I think later this year. I think we'll try and make it happen as soon as we can. So we'll be working on that, and get him straight back in there. Although he got stopped, it was quite a big stoppage. He didn't take punishment in the fight, Dillian. So I think I saw him this morning as well. He'll be ready to get straight back out there, and he'll want to get straight back out there. Maybe a week or two off. He's had 5 months training in Portugal, but maybe a week or two off and then straight back training again.
I remember after AJ Ruiz in New York, a fair few people were saying maybe AJ should go away, have one fight, and then go into the Ruiz rematch because of the psychological aspect of what AJ had to go through from New York. Do you feel there is a big psychological mountain at all for Dillian to overcome just because of the way that he was stopped in the game by just a stunning uppercut?
I think, as we say, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen one round to the next. And Dillian's already been through the feeling of losing a fight and having to come back. So I think that takes a lot of pressure off as well. Once you've lost a fight, it takes the pressure of that constant, everyone expecting you to win. Obviously, he was expected to win, but he knows what the feeling's like now. Hence why, he's very, not relaxed, but you've seen the interviews he's done today with Sky Sports News, I'm sure, and he understands it. He understands what's happening. He understands what he's got to do to get back. I think the best route is for him to go straight back into the Povetkin fight because I believe he can beat him.
What's your understanding of the situation with the WBC? Now, obviously, I know he's lost that mandatory position at number 1 spot. If he was to go and face Povetkin in a rematch and he's successful, does that mean that he'd have to wait another year or so until the mandatory has to come into play? What's your understanding of it?
No, I don't believe so because I believe that the mandatory slot is there. There hasn't been a mandatory fight for the WBC title, obviously, in a long, long time. So I think he'll go back out. He'll have the Povetkin rematch. He wins, hopefully. And then the WBC shot should be there for him as well. And it's probably not the worst timing, bearing in mind Wilder and Fury are supposed to fight December 19th. So if he can get back out before the end of this year, then that fight's there for, start on next year as proposed, as suggested before.
Obviously, just move down through the card quickly. Taylor Pursuit is again a brilliant fight once again. A lot of people on social media are kind of leaning towards Delphine. On the night, Delphine admitted herself she didn't feel she'd won it. But what was your thoughts on their fight?
No, another great fight. So we've had 20 rounds between those two, just going at it non-stop. I thought Katie Taylor won personally. I thought she won the fight. Delphine, as always, just doesn't stop coming forward, does she? She didn't stop throwing punches, but I thought Katie Taylor did the better work, and I thought she was the deserved winner. And as you say, Delphine believed it as well. That's the great thing about boxing. Everyone's got an opinion, haven't they, about who won, who didn't win, what the scores were. I'm not a judge, so I'm not going to give you the exact score. But yeah, I believe that Katie Taylor won the fight.
Moving on from that, Clay Congo, again, another very, very good fight and up until the stoppage once again. How was you seeing that fight progressing those the rounds did go on up until the stoppage? What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, it was a good fight. I was running about during that fight, so I've only seen a few rounds of it. I saw the early rounds, really entertaining fight between both guys. And yeah, no, it was good win there. And, I think we'll see some interesting things from Congo now as well. And Clay, he showed a lot of heart as well. So, there's a lot more to come from the two of them.
Babbage Winters, Babbage is.
I saw that. I saw all of that. Yeah, yeah.
You could go and talk to me about that one, Frank.
Yeah, no, that one. Babbage is becoming a superstar. I was watching the figures on our YouTube on the interview with him. I like the way he spells slow as well. It's quite interesting. But no, he's a great character. Winters, he's just come off the back of a fight with Joseph Parker. And Babbage, who's had 3 fights prior to this, has gone in there and done that to him. So, it was a great win for Babbage, and he wants to move on quickly. And I think he's going to be a real force in the heavyweight division.
2 potential fights with Babbage, quickly get your thoughts on. He called out Filip Pergovic immediately after. A fight that you think could be made, or?
Yeah, I think it's a huge fight for Croatia, especially. But maybe that's something for a little bit down the road. Babbage had 4 fights now. I think if he has 3, 4, 5 more fights, it's probably the right time to do that fight. Not rush into it. Got to grow his profile. Philip's obviously been around for a little bit longer in the pro game, and been building himself up. Obviously got a big name for him, but I definitely think that's a great fight in the future. We should do it, but only if we do it in Croatia.
It might be the first show out there for Matchroom. You never know, Frank.
Yeah, Matchroom Boxing Croatia may kick off.
Frank, obviously another name there. Dave Allen was kind of being thrown out by people over social media. Again, do you think could that be made? Dave Allen versus Babbage?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Babbage is probably the right direction for Babbage in terms of keeping his progression going. Dave Allen's a big name, and he's been in there with some tough fighters. But whether it's the right fight for Dave Allen right now, he's probably looking for other opportunities. I know he's been offered a number of different fights, big name fights. So it may not be the right time for him.
And the final fight last night was Cullen Chelly again. A lot of people leaning towards Chelly or considerably favouring Chelly over socials. I had Chelly winning personally as well. But how did you see the fight? Obviously ending as a draw.
Yeah, no, cool. Again, another fight I saw parts of. I didn't. I'm always running about, so I haven't had a chance to watch it back today as well. I've been back down the office again. So, but that was another great tear up. As you say, I've seen a lot of the comments that people say Chelly won, but it was an entertaining fight, and I think both guys have got a big future and some big fights ahead of themselves now.
Frank, fight camp has come to a close. What's been the biggest thing that you've kind of learned about Matchroom and the experience in general as boxing's come back?
I don't know. I'm probably going to get in a bit of trouble for some of the things we've broken in the office, though. The grass isn't looking too good. But I just think that fight camp has shown how big of a sport boxing is and how much people miss it, especially, with the big fights last night. But the whole 4 weeks have been great entertainment. we can put on a show. Ultimately, we can put on a great event. You know, put fireworks up, pyros, lights, lasers, all of that. But the fights have to gel. And you know, you can make a ton of fights, and sometimes they don't always work. But it seems like Fight Camp, it worked. You know, we had so many tear-ups, you know, from start to finish, that it all gelled together, and it was perfect because we wanted to do something different. We wanted to bring the sport back and keep people interested. And I'm sure that Fight Camp would. If you tuned in and saw someone's back garden with a load of fireworks going off, I don't think you'd switch over, because the fights, once you turn on as well, were top quality.
Obviously, I know you've got dates moving forwards that haven't officially been released, and you've named certain fights that you're going to put on and fighters. But when can we look towards the next phase of boxing's return? We've had Fight Camp at the same venue. Now it's looking to go around the country once again, but I imagine for the time being it will once again be behind closed doors. When can we expect announcements as to what the next phase is?
We're just working through our schedule now, sort of our global schedule, for the UK, US, Italy, New Zealand, Spain, looking at all our markets now, and we're going to start putting out our plans in the next week or two of what September, October, November, you know, December looks like. Obviously, we've done 5 shows in 4 weeks, so now we don't want to rush straight in. We want to make sure we get it right. We had a lot of time to think about Fight Camp and put the plans together for that, and that paid off. And now we want to make sure. Sorry, did it just cut off?
Cut off for a split second, but no, it's not.
I've got low battery on my phone. That's why. Yeah. Now we want to make sure that, you know, we carry on and keep the sport moving. A big part of what we did was to carry on the momentum, and yeah, want to just keep going with that.
Final thing, Frank, before I let you shoot off, we briefly spoke about it off camera there. Heavyweight division is always going to be one that catches the eye. It's a glamour division. On the back of a knockout as devastating as what last night was, it certainly got everybody around the world talking again. Was that kind of the only positive you guys at Matchroom can take, but also kind of a positive for boxing in general? Because 5 months without the sport, it comes back, and all of a sudden it is back in the limelight. Is that kind of a positive you guys are taking from it?
Yeah, no, of course. You know, we spoke about this last night in the office just afterwards, and you know, we promote 100 fighters and probably close to 50 shows a year. So unfortunately, fighters lose, and that's, you start, as time goes on, doing it 10 years, you get close to people, and it's one of those things. But they always come back, and I think now boxing is changing as well, just like the UFC, where losses don't mean as much as, no, they shouldn't mean what they do. If you're taking proper fights, which these guys are, and you're taking risks, a loss shouldn't mean anything, because you bounce back. But where your question on the sport and how good it is, yeah, it's brilliant. As I say, our job is to put on the biggest shows and the biggest nights possible, and we feel that we've done a good job with that, and we're going to keep pushing, keep growing, and the sport is in a great place and will continue to grow.
Frank, I appreciate you giving up some time today. We'll leave you to go and enjoy your evening now. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
No worries at all, mate. Good to catch up. See you soon.